Welcome to Intelligence Quality Experts Talk with me, Hariharan. Today we are going to meet Mr. Jorg Demmel, President of QuaTTForce Consulting. He's having 25 years of experience in consulting with the leading industries, and he's an expert in management consulting, business consulting, project management, leadership development, change management, strategic planning, research, and training. Welcome, sir. We welcome you. We are very much thankful for your knowledge sharing and your sharing your time with us. I wanted you to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Harry. I can say thanks for your invitation. I appreciate it. I like India, and we will talk about later. In the past, I as well went to India a few times. Thank you. Yes, my name is Dr.Jorg Demmel. I'm a German mechanical engineer with a business management degree, and I have a PhD in applied materials. And I worked greater than 25 years in industry on, I would say, on a very high level for the Fraunhofer Society. The Fraunhofer Society is a German applied research institution. The headquarters are located in Munich, in the south of Germany, and at the moment they are the worldwide leading applied research institution. They are really growing fast and quite big. And after my first job, it was my first job as an associate and a consultant, I worked for Volkswagen. Everybody, I think, knows the brands of Volkswagen, from Volkswagen Skoda, very popular in India. Then Audi as well, others up to maybe Lamborghini or something like that. And it's a worldwide largest car manufacturer. And I worked there for about 15 years, a long time, different positions, different plans. I went to India, we will talk later, to China as well, and worked in different plants in Germany for different products and production lines. In planning mainly, strategical, different word for German to pronounce, strategical positions, and in the quality assurance.
Okay.
It's 2 years, my family and I, we went to the United States, to North America. And okay, now I'm the next 5 days or something in Germany, but then we will go back. And so it's the culture in Asia, in Europe, and in Northern America. That's what I'm quite familiar with, you know.
Okay. So you are expert in quality, planning, materials. Over 25 years, you have closely worked with all these areas, and still you are continuing. This is really a great achievement, actually. But what made you to get passionate on all these fields?
I would say there are two contrasting poles, I would say. There is the one going in detail. It's more the microscope perspective. And there's the other one, it's more going in the air, like with a helicopter, and to get the total view of all. So I started, I can tell you maybe in 2 or 3 minutes something about it. I started after my graduation in mechanical engineering study, and that was, I would say, more theory, because it was on a technical university. The discipline was machine tools and materials, and there we had to learn very, very hard. And I started in this baby boomer generation. So we started with more than 1,000 students in one term. And after 2 years, around 2 years, only 30% were left. That was a lot of maths and a lot of technical mechanic studies. And this was really hard for some, but I succeeded and went through at the end with my master, with my German engineer. And that was a lot of theory, I would say. Okay, I tried to go to industry for my diploma works, but that was only a few months. And after that, I went, as I told you in the introduction, to the Fraunhofer Society. And there it went more operative. Although I was not working for a company like Volkswagen, I worked for these applied research company as an associate, as a leader later, and there we had a lot of projects, planning, re-engineering of production, new product developments, and we always get the questions from the customer if he could help, if they can't go over years to a success in production or in product development, they ask us. And yeah, that was an association of the Fraunhofer Society. There was no there was no professor at the top. That means there was no lectureship. That means I found this material section because we had a task from a Bosch company. Bosch is well known in India, I know as well. I think in Bangalore or something they are located. Yes, yeah. Bangalore. And there the question was because it was a brazing process of drillers, and these drillers are lying on this continuous furnace on graphite trays. And graphite is quite brittle and it's a little soft. And so it's now 25 years ago, I was asked if he could use a material like this one.
Okay.
And this is very stiff. And this is not graphite, this is stranded graphite with carbon fibers. Okay. And that's called CFC. That's carbon fiber reinforced carbon. And maybe you know this from Formula One, from the braking disc, or from aeroplanes, the braking discs, they use this material as well. And so we use this for these trays, and it was the start of a development of a new generation of fixtures or trays for heat treatment. And that was the beginning. And then there were some tasks, new tasks, because if you put a steel part on this tray, like this driller, in the contact area, depending on thermodynamics and kinetics and the mechanical pressure, there could be diffusion, carburizing of the steel driller from this carbon. Okay. Yeah, and therefore, this is something you have to go deeper, and there I decided to make my PhD on this really applied development, applied materials for this carbon in contact with steel in heat treatment, annealing, hardening, or sintering processes as well. And so it took a little longer, and after 7 or 8 years, I finished with my doctor. Okay. And then I went to Volkswagen. That was then real operative. But first starting again with this technology development, that was something operative. And year by year, I went to different positions. Between there was India. And at the end, I find out that my greatest wish is to help shop floor manufacturing and assembly lines or people to solve their usually non-random problems. You know, they couldn't solve without any help and without some methods or some different structure or higher priority on quality. You know, and that's the story just between these going higher helicopter perspective, looking on the problems in general, and to decide where we are going in detail. And then really you have to need an expert to solve these problems, because they are sometimes more physical, chemical, and usually blue collar workers alone, they can't solve it, and others as well not. And so you need an expert, and we will talk later, I think. Yeah. So the thing is, like, you completed your PhD, and you was there in a different field, and with interest you changed your career to the shop floor initiatives and problem solvings and other things, actually. Absolutely. Yeah. With this background of these materials
Yeah.
chemical process, physics, and so on, you know.
Yeah. In our earlier discussion, you said about you were working in Volkswagen Pune plant. So,
Correct.
how was your experience working in India, and how do you feel working with Indians?
Yes, I like to tell you something about my great experience. It's now a little longer than 10 years ago. It was 2007, 2008. There I was engaged as an assistant representative of the Volkswagen Group, and I worked just very close to the president, to Mr. Jörg Müller, and he was the president of Volkswagen India, private limited, and as well of the group sales, responsible for Skoda, Volkswagen, and Audi.
Okay.
And the one was in Pune. We started. I will talk a little later. And the other one was in Mumbai, the sales company. And there was a third location, Aurangabad. There is a Skoda plant. Maybe Harry, you heard about.
Yeah.
And our task was clear. Conquering the Indian market, but not with CKD or PKD, just delivering parts and assembling, but total localization. That means manufacturing, assembly, localized. That means we looked on the procurement and other departments, planning department on the Indian market, and we invested in total was over 500 million euros. As I know, that was the highest foreign investment in 2007 and 2008 in India. And we realized it was about first maybe 2,000 or 3,000 new new jobs. And now I think there are more than 5,000. And what I told you, it's very interesting for Volkswagen, the Indian market, because on my mind, it's just not only the growth, the growing rates, they are the highest worldwide, but it's the people, and it's I really proud. I would say it's the greatest democracy worldwide, and that's a great difference to a country like China. And there, if you work for Volkswagen, you have to be polite. It's not everything you can say, and that's I don't like this. I love India because it's a free country, you know, great chances, and it's no depression, it's no dictatorship, and it's really great.
Yeah.
And the people, yes, let me say maybe 2 or 3 things, Harry, if I can do about the people.
Okay. So
yeah, there's maybe one thing. Okay, that's family is very important. I remember great family connections. Okay, traffic situation, it's a little difficult. You have to plan more time.
So
yeah, I love this because very friendly people, open-minded. They not want to sell you like some Chinese people. They want to sell, and Americans sometimes as well. Indian people are first listening, looking, and they are open-minded, and I would say they are quite fair. It's great conversations as well, and you can make great deals as well.
Okay, so you enjoyed your time in India, actually.
Yes, it was only always for a few weeks, for short time, and I had to organize the trips by airplane with board members. It was very interesting to learn this, and as well to talk to some Indian people. It was not too much operative on this level, but it was really a great time, and I enjoyed it.
Okay. When we are visiting your website, you said that the golden cycle is the new methodology which you have designed, which is almost, or it's more effective than Lean Six Sigma concepts or any other methodologies used in the industries right now. Can you please explain something about that and how it is working? Can you please share your basics on that?
Yes, Harry, that's a pleasure to me to explain it to you and to your friends or your community, to India as well. Yeah, the golden cycle, it's just a word, golden and cycle, everybody knows. But what does it mean? And I would say it's the best on two other very known methodologies or approaches. So one is the Six Sigma approach, and the other one is the Kaizen approach. Just explaining little Six Sigma. Six Sigma stands for 6 standard deviations, and the target is in Six Sigma just 0 failures. And the DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control cycle, the 5 steps, I think everybody knows, or some know. And but the aim is less than 3.4 defects per million opportunities, and that's about a process capability index of 2.0, and that's a very high capability. Usually in an automotive industry, we reach not 6 Sigma, we reach 4 or 5 Sigma, and then we are really good. And it's very expensive to go on 6 Sigma, because sometimes you produce and you have maybe 1 part a million or 1 part each 100,000. It's not okay, but usually you make some tests after each step. Small tests, quality tests, but effective. And so you have to think about if you start with 6 Sigma. And then the other point is, this method is really data and statistical driven. With hypothesis testing, there are crucial Wallace, Mann-Whitney, and other tests. But as I mentioned before, blue-collar workers don't know this, and white collars as well. You need specialists. You need this belt from white to master, and it's really something like an industry to make money. And it doesn't, in my mind, it works maybe for Motorola and for some others, but it doesn't work for the quantity of many small and medium enterprises. And there I prefer, that's the second approach, the Kaizen. Kaizen approach. Kaizen means change for better. It's really a long Japanese tradition, and also started in the United States in the 30s, about 90 years ago. And I guess in India, many people know Kaizen, and Six Sigma is much younger. It's from the middle of the 80s. Yes. And what we do, or what I do by my experience, because I've seen a lot of consultants for Volkswagen as well, they just come and go, but it's often not sustainably. And therefore I started this golden cycle. And this golden cycle means there are three steps. The first step is you need an accepted process environment. And that doesn't mean looking for a belt for some statistic professionals, and doesn't mean working from your office side. It means going shop floor, talking to the people who run the machines. Okay. And it means gives them some space, and therefore what does it mean? Some space. You need a place where you can talk, and you need a great board, like for shop floor production meeting points. Many companies have this for quantity, but not for quality. So my recommendation and my experience is, if you really want to succeed and if you want to go on the top as a company in quality and in profit as well at the end, because if you have great quality, not over engineering, we don't talk about this, but quality the customers need, and then you have to rise quality on the same level as quantity. That's the first recommendation, and that's the first step, the process. There are 3 steps. The second step is then use effective quality tools. As mentioned before, you can use some statistical tests if needed, but usually 90% or more than 90% you don't need that. You need just maybe a list, or maybe you put it, very important, in a Pareto diagram that you can prioritize in a Pareto, and you look in a specific Pareto who is responsible? Is there an increase? And you look on that's very, very important, on these countermeasures efficiency. Right. And you put there a green light if it's really efficient, if the countermeasure really could reduce to less than 5% than 100% of the failure rate before. That means a countermeasure effectivity of greater 95%. That's what we defined as successful. And then there's a green light. 50% to 95% is yellow. And if you are less than 50%, then the failure, the root cause is not understood. Then it's a red light. And that's the Pareto we use. We use some metrics, some other tools. And that's the second step. Use quality tools that best fit to you. And that's very important. Fit to the people. They use it every day, and they should point it out. You should visualize it and control it every day. And the third step, very important, is you can do it with Six Sigma. You know, everybody knows Y is equals a function of many, many x's. And many never solved non-random problems are multidimensional. There is the material, there is the temperature, the humidity, there are the people, some tools can break, and so many influences. And usually it's easy to ask an expert from a different department, or maybe an external expert. Because why not asking an expert? It's not a weakness to ask an expert. It's a strength, and that's what we recommend. And that's what Albert Einstein said. You know, if you have the same thinking, the people you cannot solve the problem with the same thinking we used when we created them. That means you need sometimes an advice from outside to get the idea, and I can give you an example or two to solve the problems short term and sustainably.
Correct.
And these are the three steps. That means a right process, the right quality tools, and a technical support, and all these results enforce solving the problem and performance increase.
Okay.
Yes, you can follow the three steps. It's very easy to learn, and that means putting this quality on the same level as quantity means you need, as we talked about, this place, this board, the right reports. There we are on step 2, the right quality tools. Important is which tools you are common, which tools you like. We recommend the PDC A cycle, the Kaizen cycle, because it's easy, plan, do, control, and act. And we use the tools I just mentioned, histogram, Pareto, matrices. Very important is as well to learn from the failures and to avoid them in the future. Therefore, we recommend FMEA. FMEA is a great tool, very important, but it really depends how you do it. I have seen FMEAs where I was sleeping after 1 hour because the moderator doesn't know anything. And the others are not the specialists were there. You need the specialist, you need a FMEA which really fits to the problems, to the reality. And I also have seen a lot of planning processes where the supplier or the company itself doesn't know the reality. You can't plan with any theory, with any data. They are not real. You have to look on real failures of your supplied parts. You have to look on real operation, how is it called, OEE, operation overall efficiency. If it's much lower, and if you have a line process, then at the end you have really low output and low quality. And so it starts with the planning, with realistic data, and with the right quality tools at the beginning. And everybody can learn this, the golden cycle.
I have read an article which you have written on new methods reducing cost scrapping and rework, short term and sustainability, like that. Can you explain on that?
Yes, Harry, that's the same method. That's a golden cycle.
Okay.
Yes, and it can reduce scrapping and reworking. That's more this continuous improvement approach, like from Kaizen.
Okay.
And that's I would say that's something you need in a company if you want reach great results. So you need a basic quality understanding, and you need a continuous improvement process. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wrote in this article, New Methods Reducing Costs for Scraping and Reworking Short Time and Sustainably. And if we go deeper, if we maybe have some crackles in a gear wheel hardened before the teeth were broached, and then there was an inductive hardening process of this gear wheels, and at the end we had some crackles, and we didn't know from where it came. And there were at the end two main causes. So one was the broaching process was at the end after some cycles not in this great quality. There was some little burr on this teeth from this soft machining process, this broaching process as mentioned. And the hardening process, there was this cooling media. The cooling media was water with a polymer, and there was a little too less polymer. And if you cool too strong, then the tensions, the stress in the material on the surface is too high. And both the burr, there you have some really hard cooling, because it's just like a tip of the iceberg that's cooling very strong. And so it started crackling. And then we started with very important control charts, SPC. In the digital world, many people, they say we have all this data, but if you have the wrong data, or if you don't have just an easy SPC chart, you need just easy charts, and every shift you just have to control some critical to quality. You know it from Six Sigma, this critical to quality, but the same is in Kaizen, and we use it as well in the golden cycle. You have to identify these critical to quality parameters and to monitor them. And if you understand this, what's the physics of this cooling process or of this broaching before, and then you don't have any problem. And reproduced in this case after 6 or 3 months, we solved, and after 6 months we had all countermeasures, millions of parts without any failure anymore. That's one example. And another example, for example, is there was a machining process of cubic cast iron parts from automotive industry, and the cutters, the mechanical cutting of a thread cutters, they broke, and nobody didn't know. And it was about $500,000 or euros in a few years, and nobody knows. And the problem was at the end that the basement of this facility was not designed for these machining process with these high forces. The machine was not stiff, it was like this in every process, and the weakest part was this thread cutter. And so and after that we made holes in the foundation with deep holes with some stabilization. And after this measure, it costs some money as well, but this problem was solved, and nobody didn't know this. And we just came. I had an old engineer, he was 20 years older than me, and we just went to this facility from outside, and we talked to some people, and a few days later we had the solution. And you can do it with Six Sigma, with F equals Y equals F from X, but how many statistical tools you will use, I think you will find it maybe in years or maybe not. And so it's important to talk to some expert as well to get a new mind. It's something like a mindset, Forget to mention a very easy tool, it's a fishbone or Ishikawa. I think you and we both love it because it's easy. Everybody understands. You just get through these influences like, maybe the machine, the method, the tools, you know, the people, the measurement, and then you can exclude all. And if you maybe there are 3 left you can't exclude, then you have to go deeper on this 3, and there you need maybe this external expert advice, you know. And that's an easy tool. You can just draw on the flip chart, and I also don't like if you do everything digital, because if all the people are waiting for the computer, and it takes some minutes, that's really a lot of costs and demotivation. So I think it's easier to
plot it
to do something just drawing. You need this creativity as well, you know.
Yeah, correct. Actually, you work with different companies and countries. You have seen Indian manufacturing shop floors also.
Yes.
Which type of shop floor approach required in India, actually, based on Indian manufacturing? Which type of approach we need to follow? What is in your mind?
Yeah, my mind is, Harry, that Indian people are very intelligent people. They, as I mentioned before, they listen. They have a great education, and so I don't see there a difference between people in Germany or in the United States or in India. I would say they can use the approach or the tools they know, and maybe they are just these 3 points I mentioned. I would check: is there a right environment? Is there not only the place? I didn't mention the resources. I would say it's not a good word, but the people, maybe they need some tools, some test equipment. Then you have to think about, not only think, you have to decide to do this, to improve the situation so that they can really test some parameters and improve their quality. That's the one thing. The other thing is the tools: histogram, Pareto, this charts, easy statistical charts. At the end, the FMEA is very important. I know Indian people and engineers and other technicians know this. And the third one is be open-minded. And I'm sure Indian culture is open-minded. You ask, and I think that's in Germany sometimes a little tricky, because many people they don't want to ask because they think they know everything, and they will tell the other people what you have to do. And Chinese people, I don't think if they are so open-minded, and in the United States maybe they are more focused on profit, short time. So I think in India you have the greatest requirement and then base to succeed.
Okay. I think we are seeing after implementing a project, for example, Six Sigma, or like a project like Golden Cycle. Okay, we are implementing in an industry. I feel in India there is a lag of sustenance of improvement activity. This may be there in other countries also. Actually, I need to know about that, how the other country behaves after implementing a particular project. And I know very well that there is a sustenance lagging in India. Do other countries also having the same, or will other countries having a proper strategy to follow that? I need to know that.
That's very a little difficult to answer this question. You're right. Sustenance is important. In some countries, education is very expensive. For example, in the United States.
Okay.
And so only if you have a lot of money, you can really have a great education. I think in India, is it like this, or is it more that the education is free for everybody? Do you know this?
No. Indeed, education is not free, but there is a subsidiary, like government will contribute something, and they are doing. There is a first case, and the second case is like education cost is controlled by the government completely, actually.
Can you please repeat the last sentence?
Education cost is completely controlled by the government.
Okay, but I think it's not as high as in the United States. Okay, it should be in relation to the sustenance of the people. Do you think it's very expensive, or do you think it's something a middle class family could
middle class.
send their children to university or something, or college?
Yeah, middle class family can do his bachelor degree without any hustle.
Okay, I think bachelor is a good basis. And I would say because Indian people, as I know, are really, as I said before, they are really open-minded. They really love to learn and to improve their mind. And so I think they have really great requirements, and then they can really succeed. And so I wouldn't say that's really a problem, because if you look back, for example, to the Chinese neighbors, 20 years ago, they had really very low income or sustenance. And they still did a good job just looking on these economic figures. And so I don't know any reason why in India it's not possible. And I would say it's not really a big difference between small, medium, and large industry. Okay, large-scale industry, they have more money for strategical investment. They have more departments like quality and planning. So small companies, I think they have to look more on the basics, and they're just easy tools are very important, and the communication shop floor is very important. Okay, it starts with the market. It starts with a great communication to your customer, to know your customer's requirement, and not some don't know, but you have to be in touch with your customer and shop floor. I think that's great recipe for success for India as well.
Okay. Do you think this is the right time for implementing improvement projects in manufacturing industries? Which type of project can be implemented right now? That is the first thing. And second thing is like this is now the pandemic. Some recession was there in industry. Actually, there is no proper manufacturing, and right now it is getting set right. Right now it is going good. Actually, do you think this is the right time for implementing new projects?
Oh yes, absolutely, Harry. This time is the best time ever, because it's very easy. Because now many companies are struggling because maybe they fired their employees, or okay, they really have problems. But now they have to look on the people, on their brain and brain work, and that doesn't cost very much. It's just to focus on the basics. And usually, just an example of this big worldwide leader, Volkswagen, they just announced their last numbers from January to August 2020 this year. They sold about 5.6 million vehicles, and that's less 21.5% than the year before, the same period, less 21%. But they increased their market share worldwide about 3%. That means other companies are struggling more. They have more problems. And Volkswagen, you heard about this, and I know this from my former colleagues and friends, they invest a lot in these electric vehicle plans and cars and so on. And I think they are on the good way. And okay, you have to look the companies have to look which money remains to invest. And I hear a lot about IT investment. Okay, IT is important, but I would see it a little different, because if you put all the money in your new computers, I think that's not okay, because you need really to educate your people, and the computer will not help. That means you have to talk about physics. If you make metal sheets and you have a forming process, you have to know what does it mean to form a metal. You have to know about stress and material parameters, and or maybe other material parts. For alloys, yes, which alloy you maybe have to add to have the right performance for the customer, or in your forming process or heat treatment we just talked about. So it's very important to educate the people. And now it's really the best time, because a lot of maybe competitors are not doing so well. And so invest in the people, and then you will be strengthened after this pandemic.
Yeah. Okay. How to identify a project, actually?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the goals of the company you are talking about.
No, no problem. You see, if we take
But in general,
any type of manufacturing company, any type of
yes.
manufacturing company is there. But the thing is, like, some people are struggling to identify project. We can take it on quality. We can take a project on quality. We can take a project on increasing productivity, or we can take a project on maintenance side. Which is important, you think? Which area you need to focus at this time?
Yes, I would think, Harry, now it's very important because the demands are decreased in many cases, in many branches and for many companies. So I would look first on, yes, I would say to do the right things, to be effective and to do them really right. That means to be efficient. That means I would look on productivity. Because you have to reduce your base costs. I think there is no other way. And then what I said before, I would really invest in the people. And that doesn't mean you have to hire an expensive trainer. That means doing it on the job. Ask in your own company who is willing to talk maybe with young bachelors or others, technicians, and to train. Best way in production is train on the shop floor, and you can start with a board. You can make a Pareto with your main problems. You can meet there every morning and so on. And that's what I would recommend to do it now. And that doesn't mean it will cost some extra money, because the people are still there. You know, I'm thinking investment in IT is not so important now on manufacturing. I think there it's more important to visualize your quality. Maybe you need just a SPC chart and these, what we talked about, the Pareto, and to do the small steps to improve. That's important now. Okay.
I think this pandemic crisis is now demanding industries to reduce all 7 kinds of wastes. Do you think this is the right time to review and upgrade manufacturing processes? Like we shall go for automation or semi-automation machines. And do you think it will help us to move fast towards Industry 4.0?
Okay. Yeah, I think depending on the market, maybe if you are in looking on automotive industry and you are maybe tier 1 supplier, an Indian supplier, I think it's important to communicate with your customer and to stay in touch with them to improve your digital competence, I would say, or some say Industry 4.0. I think that's important to do this. I just mentioned these FMEA, and FMEA, you don't do it usually on the paperwork. Now you do it with some software tools, and I know Indian IT specialists are, I think, worldwide, I would say the best maybe, and there are a lot of, and so you can really improve your digital flow in this time as well. As a basis, but that's something different to that what we talked before. When we talk about shop floor manufacturing process, we're solving problems, getting results, output, high quality. Okay, there may be some digital tools help too, because if you have the machine data on the digital base and you can just run it with an Excel tool or something, and to find out a correlation, it really helps as well, you know. So I would say look on your competitors, look on your area, and then you can decide which strategy is the right one. And the people, the IT, and yeah, I think it's a good time to take the money, the rest of money you have, or maybe you don't need money because the people are still there, and to improve now and to go out after this pandemic. We all don't know how long it will take, so we have to do something now. But to go out with higher strengths out of this pandemic after the crisis.
Okay. Are you conducting any training programs for Indians regarding the golden cycle, or any other training programs you are conducting?
Yes, Indians are very welcome, Harry and Ever, and without for free, or maybe some services you have to pay for, but there is for free, for example, the Golden Cycle introduction webinar. Okay. And you can find it under www.QuaTTForce-consulting.com/webinars, and you can find us under linkedin.com/company/QuaTTForce-consulting. And we are offering, I think that's very interesting and more flexible in the near future, I would say in the next 2 weeks, some online courses on demand. That means it starts with the introduction, and then we have this 3 steps of the Golden Cycle, you know, process, tools, and technical support. And so these courses help to get it really flexible. And okay, you can reach me, we can talk like we do for advice, and the first talk is for free, and the others it depends. But I'm not working for getting a lot of money. I work because it's a pleasure for me, and so just ask, and then I think you will find a way, you know. Okay, it's great. Actually, it's great to talking to you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and valuable time with us. Thank you very much, Harry, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate it, and I wish you and intelligence quality a great future, and we stay in touch, I'm sure. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.